All was his own reflection in the dusty glass. But then, the image started to move, even though he was perfectly still. His reflection slowly curved its lips into a wide, chilling smile. He wasn't smiling. And then, it stood up from the wheelchair. Carl screamed and fell backward, his own wheelchair clattering loudly against the... They say you should never ever go near the storage units at the edge of Hollow Creek after midnight. Locals whisper that strange things are kept there, things people paid a lot of money to forget. The old night guard, before he quit, used to say he heard crying behind some of the locked doors, even though they'd been sealed for decades. One of those doors was Unit 47. No one knew who it belonged to. The paperwork vanished, and the manager would go pale if you even mentioned it. But one bleak winter morning, a disabled veteran named Carl won the contents of that unit in an online auction. $300 for what looked like a lifetime's worth of old furniture. He later told a friend he felt something calling to him, right through the computer screen. When Carl arrived, the sky was a blanket of gray, and an eerie silence hung in the air. The manager, his hand trembling, gave him the key and muttered, "Don't open it alone." But Carl, stubborn and thinking it was just small-town superstition, didn't listen. He wheeled himself down the dusty corridor and stopped right in front of Unit 47. The padlock was so rusted it snapped off with a single twist. The heavy metal door groaned open, and a wave of cold air rushed out, carrying a strange smell, like old, decaying flowers and something metallic, like blood. Inside, the unit was nearly empty. Just a single rocking chair, a few cardboard boxes, and a large, covered mirror leaning against the far wall. The cloth draped over the mirror looked strangely damp, as if it had soaked up years and years of tears. Curiosity got the better of him. He reached out and pulled the cloth away. At first, all he saw was his own reflection in the dusty glass. But then, the image started to move, even though he was perfectly still. His reflection slowly curved its lips into a wide, chilling smile. He wasn't smiling. And then, it stood up from the wheelchair. Carl screamed and fell backward, his own wheelchair clattering loudly against the cold concrete floor. The thing from the mirror stepped out, its movements stiff and unnatural, its skin as pale as wet paper. It leaned down and whispered, its voice a soft, broken sound that echoed in the tiny space. "You finally came back." He squeezed his eyes shut, heart pounding in his chest. When he dared to open them again, he was alone. The mirror was cracked from top to bottom. His wheelchair was turned around, facing the exit. He swore he hadn't touched it. Carl scrambled to call the manager, his voice shaking as he demanded answers. The man on the other end of the line was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, "That unit, it used to belong to a veteran too. He stored his uniform, his medals, and that mirror. After he passed away, people started hearing his voice coming from inside. We sealed it.